I never thought family could cut so deep. For years, I supported my parents financially and emotionally, while my brother Aaron skated by as the golden child. Despite his history of failures, they emptied their retirement savings for his latest scheme. The ultimate betrayal came when they accused me of stealing from them, spreading lies to our entire family, while I was the one paying their bills. Before I dive into how my own family stabbed me in the back, let me know where you watching from in the comments. If my story resonates with you, hit that subscribe button for more raw, honest life experiences. I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood in Detroit, Michigan, the second son of Frank and Diane Williams. From an early age, I understood the value of hard work and responsibility. While most kids were playing video games after school, I was working my first job at 15 bagging groceries at the local supermarket. It was not because I wanted the latest sneakers or saving for a car like other teenagers. My dad had just been laid off from the automotive factory, where he had worked for nearly 20 years at that point, and our family needed every dollar we could get. Even then, the difference in how my parents treated me versus my older brother Aaron was obvious. While I was working weekends and after school, Aaron was playing football and going to parties. My parents never asked him to get a job. Instead, they scraped together money for his sports equipment, claiming that football might be his ticket to college. It never was. I maintained straight, as while working, eventually earning a partial scholarship to Michigan State. Aaron, on the other hand, barely graduated high school and bounced between 3 different community colleges, never completing a degree, despite our parents paying his full tuition each time. Fast forward to today. I am 32, a certified public accountant, with a growing client list at a respected firm in Grand Rapids. I worked my way up from entry level, paid off my student loans within 5 years, and bought a modest but comfortable house. Nothing was handed to me. Aaron, now 35, has a very different story. Over the years, he has launched at least 6 businesses that never materialized beyond a logo and business cards our parents paid for. There was the lawn care service that ended when he sold the equipment for quick cash, the web design company, where he never learned to code, the food delivery service that collapsed when he kept spending the startup money on personal expenses. Each time our parents funded him, and each time the money vanished. Alongside his professional failures, Aaron developed a gambling problem in his mid-20s that our parents repeatedly bailed him out of. His personal life followed the same pattern, a string of dramatic relationships that ended badly, often with him moving back home temporarily, which sometimes stretched into months or even a year. Despite all this, my parents never stopped seeing Aaron as their golden boy with so much potential. When he would show up with a new scheme, their eyes would light up, as if this time would surely be different. They always had an excuse ready. He is just finding himself. Or, not everyone is as naturally disciplined as you, Dylan. My parents themselves lived modest, hard-working lives. Dad eventually got rehired at a different automotive plant, where he worked for another 20 years before his retirement was on the horizon. Mom spent her career as an elementary school administrator, beloved by students but underpaid. They were not rich, but they were careful with money and built a retirement fund of about $320,000 over their working years. Not enough to live luxuriously in retirement, but sufficient for comfort if they were careful. The pattern of favoritism continued into our adulthood. When I bought my house, my mom said, "Well, it is nice, but a bit small is not it." When Aaron rented a flashy apartment he could not afford, they gushed over his eye for quality and helped with the security deposit. When I got promoted at work, my accomplishment was mentioned briefly at Sunday dinner. When Aaron got hired for a job, he would quit 3 months later. My parents took the family out to celebrate at an expensive restaurant. Despite this unbalanced treatment, I remained devoted to my family. When my dad started having health problems 5 years ago, requiring expensive medications not fully covered by insurance, I stepped up. I started paying their property taxes annually, covering Dad's medication costs, and helping with utility bills during winter months. This support grew to about $1.500 monthly over the past 2 years, as Mom retired with a smaller pension than expected. Through all this, Aaron contributed nothing to our parents' well-being. In fact, he continued to ask them for money regularly. His latest venture was a food truck business that never even purchased a truck. Our parents gave him $15,000 toward it, which disappeared within weeks. At family gatherings, Aaron would boast about his imminent success. "The food truck is going to change everything," he would say. "I will pay everyone back tenfold once it takes off." My parents would nod enthusiastically while I bit my tongue, knowing they were unlikely to see that money again. Little did I know, things were about to get much worse than I could have imagined. The day that changed everything was an ordinary Sunday in April. I arrived at my parents' house for our weekly family dinner, bringing groceries as I often did. As I unloaded bags in the kitchen, I overheard my parents talking in hushed tones in the living room. Something about their secretive tone made me pause. "The transfer should be complete by Tuesday," my dad was saying. "I just hope we made the right decision." My mom's voice was reassuring, but tinged with uncertainty. "Frank, you saw the proposal. Aaron has really done his homework this time. This is his big break." When I walked into the living room, they immediately stopped talking. That evening during dinner, I noticed both seemed distracted. When I asked if everything was okay, they exchanged glances before my dad said, "Just some retirement account adjustments. Nothing to worry about." But something in their manner concerned me. After dinner, while my mom was in the kitchen, I directly asked my dad about their finances. After some pressing, he reluctantly revealed the truth that stunned me to my core. "We gave Aaron some money to invest," he said, avoiding my eyes. How much, I asked, already dreading the answer. After more evasion, the horrifying number came out $280,000, nearly their entire retirement savings given to my brother for yet another of his schemes. This time, Aaron had convinced them he had a foolproof investment opportunity that would triple their money within a year. "Dad, you cannot be serious," I said, my voice rising, despite my efforts to stay calm. "You have given him money dozens of times. When has he ever paid you back?" My mom came in from the kitchen, her face tight with defensiveness. "Aaron needs this chance, Dylan. You have always had everything come easily to you." I could not believe what I was hearing. "Come easily? I have worked for everything I have, and I have been helping you both financially for years, while Aaron takes and takes." "That is different," my dad said dismissively. "You have a stable job. Aaron is trying to build something. He needs capital. He needs accountability," I countered. "What are you going to live on? What about your medications, Dad?" My mother's eyes welled with tears. "Aaron has big plans. He showed us all the projections. This cryptocurrency opportunity is time-sensitive." The word cryptocurrency sent chills down my spine. Despite my anger and shock, I continued paying their bills in the following weeks. I could not bear the thought of my father going without his heart medication or my parents facing utility shutoffs, but I made numerous attempts to talk sense into all of them. Aaron became defensive when I confronted him, accusing me of always trying to hold him back. He showed me vague charts and graphs about a cryptocurrency investment opportunity, but refused to provide specific details, claiming it was too complex to explain to someone outside the industry. When I pointed out that I was an accountant who understood financial matters, he changed the subject. 3 months passed, with no return on my parents' investment. Aaron, who had initially been calling them with updates several times a week, became increasingly difficult to reach. My parents started expressing worry, though they still defended him when I raised concerns. My suspicions drove me to do some investigating. Through a mutual acquaintance, I discovered Aaron had recently purchased a $78,000 luxury car and put a down payment on a vacation property in northern Michigan. When I confronted him with this information at the next family dinner, he exploded. "You are spying on me now," he shouted. "This is exactly why I do not tell you about my business. You have always been jealous of me." My parents tried to calm him down, but he stormed out. Instead of being concerned about their money, they were more worried about Aaron's feelings. My dad even suggested I should apologize for attacking him. 2 weeks later, my parents called an emergency family meeting. When I arrived, Aaron was already there, looking unusually composed. On the dining table were printouts of what appeared to be bank statements. As I sat down, my parents looked at me with expressions I had never seen before, a mixture of disappointment and disgust. "We know what you did," my father said coldly. Confused, I asked what he meant. Aaron then spun an elaborate tale, claiming he had discovered unauthorized access to our parents' remaining bank accounts. He accused me of transferring money to myself over the past year, amounting to nearly $30,000. He had fabricated bank statements showing withdrawals that coincided with times I had visited my parents. I did not want to believe it, he said with feigned sadness. But when I saw the pattern, I had to tell them. Most shocking was his claim that I had a gambling problem I had been hiding from the family. According to Aaron, his investigation revealed I had been frequenting local casinos on the same days as the withdrawals. I was completely blindsided. "This is insane," I protested. "I have never taken a penny from you. I have been giving you money." My mother began crying. "We found your casino player's card in the guest bathroom last month," she said. "This was a complete fabrication. I did not even gamble. You were always jealous of Aaron," she continued through tears. "We just never thought you would stoop this low." My father's face was hard as stone. "We want the money back, Dylan. All of it." As I tried to defend myself, showing them my own bank statements on my phone, proving my regular payments to them, they refused to look. Aaron stood behind them, and when they were not watching, he smirked at me. It was then I realized the depth of his manipulation. "This is all a lie," I said, my voice shaking with anger and hurt. "Aaron took your retirement money, and now he is setting me up to take the blame." My father stood up. "I think you should leave until you are ready to admit what you did and make it right." I looked at each of their faces, searching for any sign of the parents who had raised me, but found none. As I left, Aaron put his arm around our mother's shoulders, playing the role of the supportive son perfectly. The betrayal left me reeling, but I was determined to clear my name. The next day, I visited my parents' bank, where the manager, Barbara, had known our family for years. I explained the situation and asked if she could verify whether I had ever accessed my parents' accounts. Barbara could not share specific account information, but her expression told me everything. "Dylan, I can tell you that the signatures on the withdrawal slips do not match your signature on file with us," she said carefully. "They more closely resemble another signature we have on record." I compiled all my financial records showing regular transfers to my parents over the years. I gathered evidence of Aaron's recent purchases and created a timeline that made it clear he had been systematically draining our parents' resources while I had been supporting them. While collecting this evidence, I learned from my Aunt Linda, my father's sister, that Aaron had been telling extended family members that I had stolen from our parents. Some relatives had already sent angry messages or unfriended me on social media. The web of lies was expanding. Armed with evidence, I went to my parents' house unannounced one evening. I found them looking tired and stressed, my father's health visibly declining. I laid out my documentation on their kitchen table, explaining each piece carefully. My mother seemed to waver, looking uncertain as she reviewed the evidence. Just as I thought I might be getting through to them, the front door opened. Aaron had apparently been staying with them and returned home unexpectedly. Seeing me with my parents, his face darkened. "What is he doing here?" he demanded. "Did you let him manipulate you again?" What followed was the worst argument our family had ever experienced. I presented my evidence while Aaron deflected, making counter-accusations and playing on our parents' emotions. When I showed proof of his recent purchases, he claimed they were business investments that would benefit everyone eventually. As voices rose and tensions peaked, Aaron and I nearly came to blows. My mother began having an anxiety attack, clutching her chest and struggling to breathe. Even this crisis did not break through the fog of manipulation. As I moved to help her, my father blocked me. "You have done enough damage," he said. "I think it is best if you leave." "Dad, can you not see what is happening?" I pleaded. "Aaron has taken everything from you, and now he is trying to destroy our relationship too." My father's face was like stone. "The only relationship being destroyed is the one you are ruining with your lies." I looked at each of them, a terrible clarity settling over me. "I need you to make a choice right now," I said quietly. "Either you believe me, your son, who has supported you for years, or you believe Aaron's lies, but if you choose his lies, you lose me for good." My mother, still breathless, looked away. My father put his arm around her protectively, as if shielding her from me. "I think you should go," he repeated. Aaron stood behind them, his expression a mixture of triumph and false concern. As I walked out of my childhood home, I knew something fundamental had broken that might never be repaired. The fallout spread quickly through our extended family. Aaron's version of events dominated the narrative. Cousins I had grown up with sent messages saying they were disappointed in me. An uncle called to tell me I should be ashamed. On social media, Aaron posted vague statements about toxic family members and the importance of protecting our parents, garnering sympathy from relatives and friends. Only my Aunt Linda questioned the story. She called me privately, saying something did not add up about Aaron's sudden displays of wealth alongside claims that I had stolen money. Her support was a lifeline during the darkest period of my life. The isolation took its toll. I threw myself into work, avoiding social gatherings where I might have to explain the family rift. When I broke down at my company's holiday party, after a coworker innocently asked about my Christmas plans with family, my close friends witnessed firsthand the emotional devastation I was experiencing. Meanwhile, I learned through Linda that Aaron continued to drain my parents' remaining resources. He had convinced them to take out a home equity loan to tide them over until the investment paid off, which of course it never would. 3 months after our confrontation, my phone rang with my mother's number. It had been 92 days of silence. When I answered, her voice sounded small and afraid. "Dylan, I know you are angry, but we need help," she said. "Aaron has not been answering our calls for weeks. The bank is sending foreclosure notices. Dad ran out of heart medication yesterday." My stomach dropped. "Where is the money from the home equity loan?" I asked. There was a pause. Aaron said he needed it to protect the initial investment, she admitted. "And now he is gone." I stated, not a question. "He said he had to go to California for a business meeting 2 weeks ago. We have not heard from him since." Her voice cracked. "Dylan, we do not know what to do." Part of me wanted to rush over to solve their problems, as I always had. The other part, the wounded son who had been accused of theft and deceit by the very people he had supported, held back. "I cannot do this anymore," I said, my voice steady, despite the pain. "I cannot keep rescuing you when you refuse to see the truth." "But your father's medication," she pleaded, "and the house." "There are assistance programs," I said. "I will email you the information." "But I cannot give you money that will just go to Aaron when he resurfaces." "How can you be so cruel?" she cried. "We are your parents. Parents who accused me of stealing from them when I was the one keeping them afloat," I replied. "Parents who chose a liar over their own son who only tried to help." After we hung up, my father left a voicemail that still echoes in my mind. "No son of mine would leave his parents in need. You are dead to us." Those words confirmed I had made the painful but necessary decision to protect myself from a family dynamic that had become toxic and destructive. The months that followed were the hardest of my life. I felt like I was grieving the death of my family while they were still alive. I started seeing a therapist who specialized in family trauma, trying to process the pain of such deep betrayal. "What you are experiencing is a form of complicated grief," Dr. Hoffman explained. "You are mourning the loss of the family you thought you had, while also coming to terms with who they actually are. My close friends became my lifeline. Jackson and Marcus took turns checking on me, making sure I was not alone on weekends. My coworker Tara, who had witnessed my breakdown at the holiday party, regularly invited me for dinner with her family, providing a glimpse of what healthy family dynamics could look like. Aunt Linda became an unexpected source of strength. Though she was my father's sister, she saw through Aaron's manipulations. "Your father always had a blind spot when it came to Aaron," she told me. Even when they were boys, Frank would give Aaron his dessert if he asked. It is like he could never say no to him. Through therapy, I began to understand the narcissistic family dynamic I had been part of. I was the responsible one, the family scapegoat who carried burdens, while the golden child received adoration despite his actions. Learning these patterns helped me see that what happened was not my fault and that my pain was valid. 6 months after cutting contact, I received an unexpected call from Linda. "Aaron has been arrested," she said without preamble, "in Nevada for financial fraud. It was on the local news there. Someone he scammed pressed charges." The news should have felt vindicating, but instead I felt hollow. "Have my parents seen it?" I asked. "Yes," Linda confirmed. "Your mother called me crying." I think reality is finally sinking in. 2 days later, my phone lit up with my parents' number. When I answered, my father's voice came through, sounding older and defeated. "Dylan," he said, his voice breaking, "we made a terrible mistake." Part of me wanted to lash out to ask if it took Aaron being arrested for them to finally see the truth. Instead, I remained silent, letting him continue. "The things we said to you, the things we believed about you, we were wrong," he admitted. "Aaron confessed everything to your mother over the phone. He took the money, all of it. He told us he was trying to pay it back, but got caught up in some bad business deals." "That is not an apology, Dad," I said quietly. "That is just admitting what I told you all along." There was a long pause. "You are right," he finally said. "I am sorry, son. I am sorry we did not believe you. I am sorry we let Aaron manipulate us. I am sorry we failed you as parents." I had imagined this moment so many times, but now that it was happening, I found I could not simply say all was forgiven. Years of unbalanced treatment, culminating in the ultimate betrayal, could not be erased with one apology. "I need time," I told him. "This is not something we can fix with one phone call." "We understand," he said, though I wondered if they truly did. "We just want a chance to make things right." In the following weeks, I established clear boundaries. I helped them connect with social services to ensure my father received his medications and that they had food assistance. I spoke with them briefly once a week, but I did not visit and I did not resume financial support. My mother struggled with these boundaries, often trying to guilt me into more involvement. My father, however, seemed to understand that he needed to respect my limits if there was any hope of rebuilding trust. Through Linda, I learned that my parents had reached out to the extended family to correct the record about Aaron's lies. Some relatives called to apologize for believing the worst about me. Others remained distant, uncomfortable with the messy family truth. As months passed, I began building what therapists call a chosen family through deep friendships and community connections. I joined a local hiking group where I met people who knew nothing of my family drama and accepted me for who I was. I volunteered at a financial literacy program, using my skills to help others avoid predatory schemes like the one that had destroyed my parents' retirement. My father's health improved when he enrolled in a medication assistance program I had researched for him. My mother found purpose volunteering at her old elementary school. Slowly, we began having more meaningful conversations during our weekly calls. 1 year after Aaron's arrest, I agreed to meet my parents for lunch at a neutral location. Seeing them in person was harder than I expected. My father had aged dramatically, his once robust frame now thin and stooped. My mother's eyes held a permanent sadness. "We miss you," my mother said immediately. "I miss who I thought we were as a family," I replied honestly. Over a simple meal, we talked about the weather, their health, my job, safe topics. As we were finishing, my father reached across the table, not quite touching my hand, but extending his own. "I want you to know something," he said, his voice steady. "We were wrong to treat you and Aaron differently all those years. We were wrong not to see and appreciate all you did, and we were terribly wrong to believe him over you. I do not expect you to forgive us fully, but I need you to know that we understand what we did." It was the most self-aware statement I had ever heard from my father. My mother nodded beside him, tears streaming down her face. That lunch was a beginning, not an ending. We continue to rebuild our relationship step by small step. Trust returns slowly, like water filling a deep well, one drop at a time. I maintain my boundaries while allowing space for healing. Through this painful journey, I have learned that family is not just about blood. It is about people who see your worth, who reciprocate your care, who tell you the truth, even when it is difficult. Sometimes, the hardest act of love is stepping back from toxic relationships, even with family. I have learned that my self-worth does not depend on anyone else's validation, that standing up for truth may cost relationships, but living a lie costs your soul. That forgiveness does not mean forgetting or allowing yourself to be hurt again. Most importantly, I have learned that you can create your own definition of family, one built on mutual respect and genuine care, rather than obligation or manipulation. Today, I am building that kind of family in my life, with some blood relatives and some chosen companions, all of whom see me for who I truly am. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved for your own well-being? Tell me your story in the comments. If this resonated with you, please subscribe for more real-life experiences and lessons. Thank you for listening, and remember, protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. I wish you the strength to stand in your truth, no matter how difficult the path.